on KFOR.
Morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the morning hookup. Look like normal. Back at you on a Tuesday. It's off to a great start for you. Beautiful outside, beautiful morning. Headed for another 60-degree or so day today for you. That's how you kick it off the right way. We'll talk hoops again today. A lot of hoops. Tickets are getting punched, and they're getting punched in a big way to watch some of these games. Daggers at the end, sending teams into the tournament. Robin Wash at HustleOnline.com coming up. Talk about going into the Big Ten tournament. NFL free agency. Oh my! Do I say more?
I don't think you need to. It ain't even started yet.
No, I mean
this is just legal tampering.
Yeah, legal tampering, and it's been wild. A lot of big time moves. Some people looking at the Falcons like what they got four eyes. What the Falcons are trying to do. Wow, and there's a lot going on. Your running back re-signed.
Yeah, I like J.K. Dobbins.
Got him back.
The Titans have gone and signed anybody and everybody. That's been a sight to behold.
Yeah, tight end back. Got a tight end re-signed back with some champions. So we'll get to that. Also, World Baseball Classic. My goodness. A magical performance on the bump.
Paul Skeens, take a bow. Bobby Witt Jr.
Oh, my gosh.
Take a bow.
The plays he is making are incredible.
Aaron Judge,
yes.
Take a bow.
Your Honor. My goodness. They're having a phenomenal time there. So we'll talk about that. Also talk a little about Scooball. That situation.
We have a resolution now, it would appear.
Do we have one? Okay, we have one.
It would appear.
But we'll go through it because I think it's interesting. Because it's a difficult – it's a tough spot for player and organizations to be in. Mm-hmm. With the umbrella up top being you're a part of the USA. Right?
On one hand, you're part of the USA, but on the other hand, we as an organization – I guess maybe not that organization.
But, not that one, because
most of them are paying these players a lot of money to come win them games, not win the United States games. Yeah. But you also understand, hey, what's good for the country is also good for my team, kind of, unless there's an injury to my best player.
Because that one's really interesting, especially with the Tigers and that situation with him, and it's bound to happen more throughout this, and then stories that we missed as well. There's a lot. I didn't talk this morning. I had this. It's interesting. I wrote in my paper this morning. Little things of joy that make you happy.
Sure as heck ain't allergies this morning.
No, I know everybody's going through that.
I am dying.
Everybody's going through that right now. I've talked to so many people. My kids, both of them, they're all popping the Claritin, the Benadryl, whatever it is that their favorite is. It's nonstop right now. Every morning. The Kleenexes. I mean, it's incredible. You got that, but what I mean that, but so I don't know if I talked about this yesterday, but like little things in life that just bring you so much joy. My kid, my youngest, right? Obviously, I talked about the school they go to. It's uniform. There's certain times of the year they can wear shorts. Certain time of year they can wear pants. They go shorts, pants, shorts. Today was first day of shorts. You would have thought it was the last day of school of joy. Popped up out of bed like he normally does, but it was like he was like getting dressed earlier. He was eating breakfast earlier. He was putting his stuff in the dishwasher. I'm like, this is what the heck is going on? He was just so happy. Got to school, bounced out of the car. Him and his buddies, I saw him like chest bump. In shorts, it's just little things of joy that we fail to sometimes as adults appreciate. I just think that's something that's so cool as an adult. We don't get a chance to appreciate that sometimes. Of little things that happen to us in life, I don't even know.
Did we lose our childlike wonder? or childlike joy.
I think we have as adults. It's serious.
And I blame allergies.
And I blame allergies.
I woke up this morning like,
yeah,
I feel like a zombie.
It was just something that hit me this morning watching my kid. And I think bring you joy. Like I went back and thought about Sunday's basketball game at Pinnacle Bank. As you're getting into the game and you're like, man, you're here and you're there, and and I looked back and I go, you know what? I got a chance to do that with my two boys. That they got a chance to watch something special this year over time. The number of games I got to go with my boys with. And hopefully that they enjoyed it. I think they did, but also that I need to take the time as a parent and as a Husker fan to go, man, this was really cool. And it's enjoyable. And not to take the time to be so critical of critical moments.
I mean, it's something we talked about briefly yesterday. The scene setter that Kent Pavelka had right after the pregame show leading into starting lineups and opening tip for this game last night was you could hear the emotions. He was overcome with them. He wasn't crying, but he was choking up. He was choking up on the headset.
The investment, the joy.
And that was one of those things that made me sit back and realize, like, that's a guy who's been doing it for 4 years.
Yeah. Look, man.
Who's been to every single game. Who's gone through the ups and downs. Like, you and I, Hooksy, and all the Husker basketball fans out there, whenever Nebraska was terrible 5 years ago, you could sit back and go, well, I'm just not going to watch it tonight. Kent Pavelka has seen every single game.
Look,
the ups, the downs. And whenever he was telling the story of this season, it made him emotional because of everything that you have gone through as a Husker basketball fan leading into this season. It's not just this season. And are there things to be critical of? I think rightfully so. This is not a perfect team. You can be critical of them while also understanding this team is special. Yes,
I agree with that. Yes.
You can do both. But to sit back and hear the emotions made me sit back and go, yeah, you know what? This is a once-in-a-lifetime type Husker basketball team. So sit back and soak it all in and enjoy it.
Yes. And if you get a chance, I know we've said this before, but there's some true MVPs on that team, within that team. But do yourself a favor, if you haven't, go watch the season, not the season ending, but the regular season ending cinematic recap. My goodness. They bring it all together. You get a little bit of that Kent Pavelka setting the scene moment within it. The emotions of the seniors, all of it. All of it. It's just wrapped up in something special. They're not done yet. All right. We're not sitting here talking about the swan. We're not done yet, right? But take the time to just think about that a little bit. Enjoy those moments. Right? Because I've often said this. We miss greatness until it's gone. We're not guaranteed to see what we've just seen. This is truly uncharted territory for Nebraska. Do we hope that it continues like that? Yes. But will this be a team that we look back and go, oh, they're the ones that set the tone for the future of Nebraska basketball. And I think Fred even mentioned it. Maybe this is one of those teams after years on down the line, if they're able to get it, to do what we think that they're going to do, that they'll be brought back in some capacity in front of a sold-out Pinnacle Bank Arena to be celebrated. Mm-hmm. But not missing that.
And when that team comes back, and this is a quote that stuck with me. I think a lot of people will hear it and recognize it and relate to it. I wish there was a way to know you were in the good old days before they were gone. Mm-hmm. You heard that one before?
Yes.
I'm telling you right now, you're in the good old days of Husker basketball where you're going to look back 10, 15 seasons from now. And I hope and I believe that there will be great Husker basketball seasons moving forward. But this is the first one like this.
Yes. First.
There's going to be
hopefully not the last.
There's going to be special memories of this one in particular. Let me tell you right now, you're in the good old days. Enjoy them, drink them in.
Yep.
With this weekend, the Big Ten tournament, the NCAA tournament, enjoy it while they're still here.
Yes.
Because the numbers are very, very finite in the number of days we have left enjoying this Husker basketball team. So,
yes, boy, I tell you what, it's just amazing. By the way, speaking of enjoying stuff, as we're talking hoops, we'll come up with Robin Washer here in about 5 or 6 minutes or so. This is enjoyment time, folks. You're entering into conference tournament time. I know we're looking 2 weeks ahead right now at the big dance, but do yourselves a favor. Watch some college. There's tickets being punched all over the place right now and in dramatic fashion. Buzzer beaters. Last night, was it Townsend? Well, some of these tickets they're just getting punched are incredible. Santa Clara Hoops. Boom. They hit one last night. Ticket punch. Townsend hit Hoshrif, by the way. Hoshrif in the Townsend game hit a 3 with 0.3 left. Boom. Ticket punch. Furman. Boom. Dreams are being made right now with these teams going into these tournaments. And if you look at it, I was getting excited this morning. I started to look at it like, all right, man, this is where it's at. You start looking at ESPN, and everybody has this articles up about conference tournament championships. You are in for a treat every night in and night out, starting right now, to watch opening games, to watch championship games. The Big East is getting kicked off on the 11th. Big 12 kicks off today. The ACC kicks off today. American, the Atlantic off tomorrow.
Big Ten starts today. You mentioned that?
Big Ten starts today.
Yeah. Big Ten Network. You have the garbage teams.
Yes, but they're on. We have a vested interest in watching these tournaments from the strength of schedule, RPI, all that. I know Nebraska is a patiently waiting 2 seed right now, but you can see the draw coming. I mean, there's games today that have so much impact on this tournament. These opening round games, especially as I was looking this morning, because, again, ever-changing landscape of Joe Lunardi. He puts out his sheet like an hour ago. He's got a pretty big update in his ideas, in his eyes, right? Right now, he has advanced. So Nebraska's got him in the South region right now. But Alabama's into that third line. Illinois. I mean, we've talked about all these scenarios. Today's games, you've got teams like talking about those bottom teams, right? Call them the garbage teams in these tournaments. Teams like Indiana.
Indiana's got a big weekend in front of them.
Right now, Illinois has him sitting on the last 4 in line. You've got, NC State last 4 buys. Texas last 4 buys. Missouri, UCF. These teams. Auburn right now. By the way, his update on Auburn, first 4 out. Somebody got the cojones to put him on the outside. Finally.
Good.
Finally. Teams in the ACC, Stanford, Virginia Tech. You look at some of the verbiage in this one. Pitt and Stanford play each other today. Both those teams. Like Pitt's going to have a big weekend, but Stanford right now is sitting on the first 4 outline. What does that weekend look like for them? Teams like SMU in the ACC, they play today. They're sitting at again, this is all what you read. Last 4 in. Virginia Tech, they're in the first 4 out. They got a big weekend. It's just an incredible time right now for college hoops.
And it's so nice to be able to watch Nebraska this weekend and to not be like, are they in? Are they out?
No, you're in. It's the comfort. This is incredible.
Selection Sunday will be here before we know it.
5:30 on Sunday, right at the conclusion, pretty much, of the Big Ten Championship. Big Ten Championship, I think it's around 3:30-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll bleed that game, go right into it. Which, do you think, will we have, I think so, if it's mutually agreed upon, which we've never had, by the way, right? Like, will ESPN be around for a live look-in with Nebraska?
Hopefully from the locker room at the United Center.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. What is it? Are we in that realm now? Because we're that team. The live look-in piece. Kind of cool.
That's a long ways away.
I know.
That's a long ways
I know, but it's just the thought. His, by the way, going back to that, Lenardi said his bubble matrix, what he put out, all performances and predictive metrics that have been updated through the regular season allowed Indiana to slide ahead of Auburn for the final at-large position. Here's his other part. Best guess is that neither is in the NCAA tournament field on Sunday. He predicts them both being out after the tournament. It's interesting.
It is.
Real interesting commentary from Joe Lenardi.
It's an interesting week.
It is. Well, should we we'll take our first break. Let's come back and talk a ton of Husker hoops. There's a lot to get to with Washington, not just the Nebraska-Iowa game, the seniors, Cale Jacobson, what he did on that day, Frager, ? 26 wins, contract extension. Let's take a break. Come back with Robin Watch at HuskerOnline.com.
You're gonna find a Kleenex desperately.
But you What's up, Arlo? Good morning. Wow. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Post done.
Okay, I'm at Robin One here.
Let's go. Welcome back in the morning, Hookup. Happy Tuesday. You're our guy from HuskerOnline.com, Robin Washington. Washington, what's up, brother?
What is up?
Can you teach our audience how to sleep with one eye open? Because I feel like that's what you're doing lately, brother.
Yeah, the candle is burning on both ends this month, but it is for all the right reasons. It's busy in a good way. So the grind is good, it's real.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into Sunday and looking ahead a little bit, but look at the grand scheme of this entire season, the 25-26 Huskers Coming into the season, ranked preseason 14. Obviously, you know where we are now, number 2 in the Big Ten. When you look back through this season, obviously it was a I think nationally it was a cute story for a while. At what point in the season did you or could you define or a stretch of time when this became not a story anymore, but Nebraska was real?
Well, certainly the Wisconsin Creighton game, but I think the punctuation was Illinois when they went and won there. Like, because that was kind of all right. Well, they, beat K-State, Oklahoma, and some neutral site games, but now they got to play Creighton. We'll see what they're all about. Well, they smoked Creighton. Well, all right. Well, now they're entering Big Ten play. They got to play Wisconsin. Well, now we'll get a real test of what they are, and they beat Wisconsin by 30. And then it's like, all right, well, now they got to go on a road against a top 15 team. Like, reality is about to set in where these guys are going to get humbled when they go beat Illinois in their only home loss this season. So, like, it was that was the stretch where every time the goalpost kept getting moved back and back and back, Nebraska kept answering the call. And that's when I think it got real. And like I said, it was really solidified for me after that Illinois game, because it's one thing to win at home, but to beat a team like that on the road, I think that opened everybody's eyes, and people started looking at Nebraska a little differently from that point on.
Robin Washut with us, your HuskerOnline.com. And Robin, I think a lot of people would agree with you in that moment. I mean, I was calling a Lincoln High basketball game. It was early in the high school basketball season. And
Go Lynx.
And I know now we get to see them in the state tournament, which I'm looking forward
Let's
to.
go.
But so many people at that game, they had the phone up. They're watching that game. They're watching the shot at the end. It was that was a moment that I think Husker fans remember for a long time. This is just a season. We were talking about it last segment. This is a season that Husker fans will remember for a long time. And I hope people out there appreciate what they're seeing right now, because we don't know what the future holds. In this season as it stands right now, at least for me, is once in a lifetime.
Yeah, and this kind of poetic that they brought back the 95-96 team, and you saw how like cherished those guys are, for doing something, having a really good season. But this year has the chance to be even better than that. And so, like you see, 30 years later, guys like Jerron Boone and Danny Nee, like they're some of the most treasured people in this program's history. Well, if Nebraska goes and does what many people think and expect them to do, then this could be like the most celebrated team we've ever seen in Nebraska basketball history. And 30 years from now, you could see Sam Hoiberg getting a roaring standing ovation in his return to Pinnacle or whatever arena Nebraska's playing in at that point. And basically that scene you saw on Alumni Weekend this year kind of being tenfold with this group. So I agree with you. It's going to be one that I'm certainly never going to forget, especially if they get that tournament win. And I think that would probably apply to everybody who follows and roots for Nebraska basketball, just because of the unprecedented nature of really this entire journey this season.
We're speaking of Robin Wash, HuskerOnline.com. Rob, we'll jump into the game here in a little bit, but I also want to go and just talk about Coach Hoiberg and staff all the way down through. And again, I think maybe the most unsung hero is the strength and conditioning coach, and the way through this season has been. But talk about Fred's evolution, because I think in life we always continue to learn, right? We always have to be open-minded to learn about his time so far, because obviously the way he's changed things, the way he's become, maybe learned to be a different head guy, whether it be through changing of staff different from when he got here to now, the way they prepare, the way they do things. And just, talk a little bit about, because Fred won't not want to talk about himself, but I think there's pivotal moments that he made changes on staff, whether it be, on his own or whatever, but getting those pieces put together to really drive this Husker program forward.
I don't know if we have enough time this segment to kind of go chronicle everything.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Do the abridged version here, but I would go back to the 22-23 off season, where he shook up his staff, and obviously the moving on from Matt Abdelmassih was probably the biggest domino that fell there, just because like Matt Abdelmassih had so much say and control over roster management, and that was by design. That's what Fred did at Iowa State. He let Matt kind of do his thing and went and kind of revolutionized the transfer portal aspect of building a roster and tried to just recreate that at Nebraska. And while they got some talented individual players, the plan as far as building them into a cohesive team just was never there. And so the product was what it was, and it kind of came to a crossroads where Fred had to change something because what was happening was not working. And so good on him for realizing that and having the humility to say that I need to change. And he did. He went and got restructured his coaching staff and took on a different plan to roster management, where it's not just going and getting the best individual players. It's about building a team and getting guys that not only fit the culture that you want to build, and that's a big part of it, getting the right people in your program, but also piecing together complementary players, guys that are going to fill certain roles and do certain things that make a unified basketball team. And you saw that with the guys they brought in right out of the gate with, Manuel Bandamel and Sam Griesel out of the portal. They were able to retain Derek Walker, and, those three really kind of kickstarted this whole process. And, they were maybe a Juwan Gary and Bandamel injury away from potentially making the tournament that year. And I think that kind of instilled some belief and momentum that what this new plan was going to work. And every year from that point on, they just continued to build and build on that philosophy and that method. And it has kind of led to what you're seeing right now. So I think it shows that patience and adaptability can get you where you want to go in this era of instant gratification, for every Indiana football or whatever you want to look at of this like quick, immediate turnaround. Sometimes you can go a different route and have your best year be year 7. And sometimes it takes not only just patience from the coaching staff and the willingness to change from your head coach, but you got to credit Nebraska too. Like there's a lot of complaints, and deservingly so, for what Trev Alberts did and his exit. But he's the one that decided to stick around with Fred. There was a lot of ADs that would have axed him right then and there after that 21-22 debacle and that stretch that he had where he won 20 whatever games over 3 seasons. Like it, that was more than deserved to make a change. But for whatever reasons, they decided to stick it out. And, it came at some sacrifice on Fred's part. And that kind of goes back to Fred not letting his ego, stand in the way of what he thought he was building here. He took a pay cut and restructured his buyout, and like I said, made some sacrifices to stay here. And Nebraska, under those terms, decided to stick it out with him, and it all kind of led to what we're seeing right now. So it's kind of an interesting, now unique story that. In a year where everybody wants things to happen right away, especially in the transfer portal era where you can flip your roster in the course of a few months, that sometimes the long-term build can ultimately get you where you want to go. So, that's the fun thing now is that the evolution doesn't have to stop for Nebraska, that they're winning at, an elite level right now. Can the resources now continue to flow in to where this model isn't just about like finding diamonds in the rough and, trying to win on a budget. Maybe now they can start paying elite money or at least relatively elite money and take this thing even further than what we're seeing right now and make it consistently at this level year in, year out.
Evan, when you talk about the, my bad.
God.
I am so sorry. Robin, whenever you talk about like the change that Fred Hoiberg brought to the Husker basketball program, you briefly mentioned it, but so much is made of the different types of players. Can you talk about the coaching staff that Nebraska had this year with Linzer, with Ziegler, with Monahan, what those guys brought to this team specifically? And I mean, you look at Linzer, he's obviously a huge part of the change as well with what he's brought in the defensive side of the ball, but everyone talks about Fred, and you say, and he has his assistants as well. What can you say about those three and what they've brought to the court this year?
Well, Starts with Nate. This is his 5th year now, and like he was kind of one of the driving forces, I think, behind that shift. His first year was 21, 22, and so like he kind of got in on the ground floor of that renewed approach that Fred Hoiberg wanted to take on, and he's been with Fred for a long time, going back to the Iowa State days, with the Bulls, and now at Nebraska. So I think that kind of connection that they had was a real foundation of the path that Nebraska's been on since his arrival. So he's instrumental in everything they do defensively. He's one of the loudest voices and, kind of focal points in every practice. And I think just the emotion that he brings is a lot of reasons why Nebraska is able to get the most out of all these players. And so Nate's been critical. You could make a strong case that he's one of the most valuable members of that staff in terms of getting Nebraska to this point. And especially with his kind of innovative defensive approach, he's kind of helped change the identity of Nebraska basketball. And Ernie's been here for a while too. And it's interesting because he's kind of there. He's probably on the road the most out of, from on the recruiting standpoint. And he's, been able to utilize his portal connections, his international connections. And then from an on-court perspective, he focuses, they call him he's basically like the special teams guy, as they say, where inbound plays, special situations, that type of stuff. So basically, he'll help out with the offense. Pat Monahan will help out with the offense, but it's Fred's offense. And then Nate runs the defense. And so Ernie's impact is in a lot of those, scouting, different things that each opponent does, and also creating, special teams plays, as they say, around that. So, he's got significant value as well. And then, I think Pat Monahan has blended in perfectly in his first year here. I think people were kind of a little bit concerned when Adam Howard left to go to NC State, just because Adam was doing a lot of good things here, and I think was kind of an ideal fit for what Fred wanted on that staff. And so when he left, the question was, how are you going to fill that void? And I think Pat has filled that void perfectly for what Nebraska wanted and needed out of him. And it's going to be interesting to see how his impact is felt in these future high school recruiting classes. He's been very active on the recruiting trail for the 27 and 28 class. And, I think you'll start to see his impact being felt more and more, especially coming into this off season with, what Nebraska is able to get in with official visitors over the summer and leading up into the November signing period.
We'll watch it. Let's recap Sunday. It wasn't a must win, but I think it was a needed win for Nebraska heading into the postseason to have a real good feel. But overall, I felt like, and get your opinion on this, but felt like that game was exactly one, what Nebraska needed. Two, exemplified everything that Nebraska's season was about. An ugly start, a lead at halftime, a defensive juggernaut against Bennett, 45 minutes, 4 of 10, only scoring 11 points, 4 guys in double figures for Nebraska. And we all knew going overtime that Cale Jacobson would be, as Fred called him, the Steph Curry in overtime. Did you not know the pride of all Ashland Greenwood was going to take us home in overtime?
The Ashland assassin.
Yes.
So some people call it.
Did we saw it coming.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was kind of exactly what Nebraska needed at that point. So no, they didn't need it to make the tournament, unlike previous senior day games, and there wasn't this end all be all consequence for winning that game. But for Nebraska to go into postseason play with any semblance of momentum, they needed to win that game, and they needed to send that senior class out the right way, and they needed to get back to playing their brand of basketball that got them to, at that point, 25 wins. So I think they accomplished all those things. They were able to play significantly better offensively than they did, and then defend. They gave up a lot more points, but you mentioned the Sturts factor. Basically, they said, we're not letting your best player beat us, and they didn't. Credit to Iowa for having a couple guys step up, and Combs and Koch for dropping 18 points each, and they were able to kind of counter a bit what Nebraska was doing to Sturts, but they I think executed their plan where they took away arguably one of the best point guards in the nation almost completely out of the game, and so they did what they needed to do defensively. They rebounded much better than they did the first time against Iowa, and they shot the ball and executed their offense much better, certainly, than they did in Iowa City. So they checked every box from an X's and O's standpoint, especially with the way they were able to close the door in overtime and take over when it mattered the absolute most. And then just the emotions that came with sending their seniors out that way. Gale running over and handing Sam Hoiberg the ball to run out the final seconds. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. And like, for a team coming off by far its worst performance of the season at UCLA, to come back and have that type of moment and get those type of vibes back into the program, I thought was invaluable. Especially just being able to get some, upward trajectory again going into now the most important part of your season in postseason play. So it was, it was stressful and probably didn't need to go to overtime, but Nebraska found a way, just like they have all year. It's kind of defined this season, where it hasn't always been perfect, but when it comes down to it, far more often than not, Nebraska has found a way to flip that switch and figure it out when they've had to. And that's a darn good quality to have come tournament time.
Evan, as we switch gears here and talk Big Ten tournament, I guess it looks likely going to be Indiana or Purdue. And on one hand, if it is Indiana taking on Purdue with the right to play Nebraska, that is a rivalry game with a lot on the line for Indiana, really more than Purdue, but both of those teams. And you'd love to see, I guess, which team makes it through and see their fatigue factor after playing in a rivalry game such as that. But which matchup would you prefer if it is those two? Because Purdue, they already got you once. You have the revenge factor if you're Nebraska. On the other side, Indiana's a team that they need a couple wins in the Big Ten tournament. They find themselves right on the bubble. Nebraska finds themselves on the better side of the bracket. What is the better of those two matchups if it is Indiana taking on Purdue with the right to play Nebraska?
Indiana, no doubt. That'll be their third game in 3 days, so fatigue for one. And I think Nebraska just matches up significantly better. They don't have Clough down low getting 25 offensive rebounds like he did in Lincoln. So that in itself right there, and I think Nebraska's got a pretty good plan. Indiana presents challenges, with Wilkerson and certainly DeVries with their shooting and ability to play. But that's what Nebraska does. So I just like everything about the Indiana matchup compared to Purdue. Now, I do think that as poorly, and as actually I would say poorly, as brutally as that game started, the first half against Purdue, Nebraska showed that they can compete with them. I mean, the fact that they came back, erased that deficit, had a free throw in the final seconds to win that game in regulation. And had it not been for a wet floor, probably had a chance to, do it in OT as well. So that, I don't think it's some insurmountable task to play Purdue, especially with them playing their second game in as many days. But from a just degree of difficulty factor, give me Indiana all day, every day.
Robin, before we get you out of here, I want to think back. I want to go back to probably our middle school, high school days when the tournament was played. Did you? Can we describe to the young guys the audio-visual cart with the TV strapped to it that we get to watch tournament games on? Because we are in that season.
Yeah, it was always the one cool social studies or math teacher that would roll in the thing and just have the games on while we were doing some worksheet or something. It was basically it was optional to even turn it in. Everybody was just watching games, and then you'd go to the science class where some old crudgy teacher wouldn't even let you watch it. So, but that 50 minutes or whatever of cool teacher class with the TV cart rolled in, that was the most epic day of the school year, far and away. And you brought up some nostalgia there. Yeah. That's a good feeling right there.
Mine was my drafting class. It was a drafting class that I had. It was one of the assistant baseball coaches, and
it was always a coach that had to teach to coach. That's exactly what it was.
And I also at times I would allude and maybe been in his class for 2 periods and might have missed the other one and gotten a note.
Nice.
See,
There you go.
10 years ago, I was one of the few people that had unlimited data on the phone. So even if we were in that class that didn't have the TV in there, I was pulling up the game on my phone, and all the guys in class we're all sitting together in the back corner of the room trying to hide what's going on, but the teacher kind of knew and they didn't care. It was good memories there. I do have to ask you, Robin, last thought before we get you out. Your Lynx taking on Westside tomorrow, opening up the state tournament. You heading down? You going to check it out? What's the plan for that one?
So when do they play? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
is that right? And what time is it? Do we know what time tip is?
Here we go. Ready? It's a 1:30 start at Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Okay, so I've got 2 types of allegiances here. So Lincoln High obviously is my school, but my wife teaches at Lincoln Southwest, so we got a double header that we might need to try to at least make it to one of those games. As fun as this Lincoln High story has been, but Westside's the best team in the state. They got the best player in the state, the only Nebraska recruit in the state, and London Dada. So it would be quite the magical moment if they're able to win that game. But the fact that we got back to state, that's good. Like when I went to school, we weren't good at much athletically, but boys basketball was like one of the few sports where we were darn good. I think we made it to state. We won our district, and then lost. I can't remember who we lost to my senior year. So my senior year was 01, but then the following year, Lincoln High won state with a bunch of those same guys. So we had a good run there in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it's glad to see the boys back in their rightful place in the state tournament field.
I feel like tomorrow could be a work / alma mater trip because, like, I'm assuming who wouldn't know that Fred and players might be hanging around. So that's a work trip.
Yeah, I'm sure. So Fred or Nate is in Iowa today watching Colin Rice in the Iowa State tournament. Nice. And then I wouldn't be surprised if Fred maybe pops over and watches London Dada, or at least one of the assistants, if Nate can't make it back in time. So, you might see some Husker staff members checking it out.
Awesome. Well, Rob, man, appreciate your time as always, my friend. Keep doing great work. Safe travels to Chi-Town, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Sounds good. Talk to you later.
Robin Watch, HuskerOnline.com. Talking Husker Hoops with us. Let's take a break. We'll come back, talk a little baseball. Boy, the World Baseball Classic has been fire. That and a whole lot more when we return. Yeah. Fellow Lynx out there. Arlo. Damn right. Go Lynx. Who's on the call for that tomorrow? Is it
that is Moats.
Moats on the call with the Lynx tomorrow. Omaha West Side and the Lynx. And then Schmitty, and he's got 315. Are they both doing it?
315 Schmitty, yeah.
Yep.
With Southwestern Millard.
Okay.
With an abbreviated version of the Average Joe Sports Show to follow.
How cool would that be? Like, I don't know, if you think from the Lincoln perspective, if Southwest can advance and the Lynx could pull the upset,
they'd play each other in the semifinals.
Play each other in the semifinals would be cool, but then you're also guaranteed a Lincoln school with a right to the chance to win it. Mm-hmm. Oh, hello. I'll watch that throughout the week, but I think we're going to be maybe. That's another thing that's bringing joy to my high schooler is that they get out of school at like 11:55 on Thursday.
Yep.
Joy. Complete joy. So many great plays in that game last night.
This video just came across my timeline of this Gonzaga player that fell into the cheerleaders and kept on apologizing.
Hey, he was shooting his shot. You see when he gets up, he looks back at her.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like lays there for a minute.
Coming back here.
All right. Welcome back in the morning. Hookup. Special thanks to Hutch Online's Robin Watson. World Baseball Classic. My goodness. 5-3 win. United States over Mexico. Paul Skeens, stand up. 4 innings, 1 hit, 7 strikeouts. But as he will tell you, that 1 hit resulted in a Aaron Judge punch out at third from right field. Did you see how that thing was clocked at almost 92 miles an hour?
Oh, man. It was the perfect one-hop throw into third base. And then let me also give some credit. That third base umpire, that punch nailed it.
Yes. Did you also see, if you go back and watch the other part of that, is Brigman's deke of it?
I did.
He slowed the runner down. It was nonchalant, but he did that, and he just stuttered just a little bit. 92 on the gun for Aaron Judge.
Speaking of dekes, remind me to show you during the commercial break the Rutgers middle infield deke.
Ooh. I'm a fan of these things.
I need to show you that one. That one's really, really good. I'll show you that during our commercial break. It doesn't translate well to radio, but
no. Skeens on incredible. Bobby Witt, Minister of Defense, stand up. My goodness, making play after play at shortstop to keep him in that. Aaron Judge, another home run. I believe he said second. Anthony also hit a home run. Big 5-run third inning. That's where it was set and done. The bullpen held on just long enough to get that 5-3 win. Now 3-0. But just magical. Just again, that game last night set the tone for the rest of this World Baseball Classic. Because one would throw out there, and Skeens talked about this. There are, I would say, there's a few out there that feel like they're the favorite, right? You're probably saying Mexico, the Dominican, Japan, and United States, right? Those are the ones like, hey, we are the favorite. Last night, that was a kind of a preview of that whole coming up in semis and finals possibly coming up.
Yeah. And the United States has one pool play game left. That is tonight.
Yep.
Taking on Italy. FS1, 8 o'clock first pitch here, local time. And then you're on to quarterfinal play, which begins Friday.
Yep. So. Now, we mentioned Skubal in the beginning of this thing about now he pitched. There's been contracting conflict. Now I think we have a resolution because, again, you're playing for the United States, but also you are under contract with a program, with a club, and the Detroit Tigers. And the Tigers, hey, we want you back. We don't want you to pitch anymore. We want you back. But now you said there's come to an agreement of some sorts.
Last night, I don't think it's an agreement. I think it's the Tigers telling Skubal what he's going to do. He was allowed to stick around for last night's game and is returning to the spring training with the Tigers today.
Mm-hmm.
So he's done.
Now, did I read that he's also might go back
to watch?
Cannot pay. He's done throwing for the United States.
Yes, because he's got, I believe, a scheduled start coming up in spring training for the Tigers this weekend. But he said, I hate it. I'll be the first to sign up for the 2028 Olympics and the next World Baseball Classic. I don't think I'm walking away. I guess I am, but I'll be back for the semifinals and the finals to enjoy the moment with the guys.
Yeah, that's like your parents or your wife or girlfriend making you believe it was your call. It ain't. No, they summoned you back, right? Too many tens of millions of dollars invested right now. But you feel like that could also keep driving just a slight more wedge in between him and that organization.
They don't care anymore. They got 1 year left.
He won't end up there.
They know they got 1 year left.
Coming up, NFL free agency is frantic and frenzy right now. Brian Munson and a whole lot more. Take a break. We'll be right back.
I'm Dave Wolf of the Time Shop. We've been voted the best watch repair store in Lincoln year after year. If you're a customer of the Time Shop, we thank you for your continued trust. And please tell your friends. If you've never been to the Time Shop, give us a try. We've been repairing watches in Lincoln since 1970 and can help with all your watch repair needs. We install batteries while you wait, and all work is done right here in our store. Come see us at the Time Shop next to McDonald's at 6450 O Street, Lincoln.
If you decide to buy new flooring, you want it installed right away. Hi, Steve Carper from O Street Carpet. With our huge in-stock supply of carpet, tile, and vinyl, wood, and laminate flooring. You buy today and we'll install it right away. While other stores don't deliver that kind of service, we do. In fact, if you'd have purchased your flooring last week at O Street, you'd be enjoying it today. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street and ostreetcarpet.com.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
When you live a tobacco-free life, you're free to live more fully. You're free to be more active and to breathe easier when you are, to be more present with family and friends, and to enjoy food and drinks more fully without nicotine dulling your senses. Tobacco-free can mean better physical health, mental health, and financial health. Giving up tobacco can give you more life. Learn more at quitnow.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired in association with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You got your very own handyman to help remodel your home.
Don't miss the biggest bathtub sale of the year going on now. Choose from 20 different bathtubs on display at Handyman Home Remodeling Center.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SOUND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SOUND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SOUND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
KFOR invites you to join Legacy Retirement's John Kopetsky and his special guests Saturday mornings for the Aging Adventure. Brought to you by Legacy Retirement Communities. Lifestyle and health topics plus fascinating people. The Aging Adventure, 8 a.m. Saturdays on KFOR.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the United States will have its most intense day of strikes yet today, and that the war with Iran will not end in what he says is the same quagmire as other conflicts have ended in the past.
This is not 2003. This is not endless nation building under those types of quagmires we saw under Bush or Obama. It's not even close. Our generation of soldier will not let that happen again, and nor will this president, who very clearly ran against those kinds of never-ending nebulously scoped missions.
Briefing reporters at the Pentagon today, Hegseth also said President Trump is the one who will decide when the mission ends. ABC's Ian Pannell has more from the region.
Inside Iran, scenes of celebration as thousands of people took to the streets to rally in support of their new supreme leader, 56-year-old hardliner Mujtaba Khamenei, son of the killed Ayatollah. He was chosen despite President Trump saying he'd be unacceptable, seen as a brazen act of defiance.
In a post on X, British Airways just announced it is canceling all flights until the end of the month to and from Amman, Bahrain, Doha, Dubai, and Tel Aviv, and no flights to Abu Dhabi until the end of the year. TSA staffing shortages caused by the partial government shutdown continue. The delays potentially impacting thousands of spring break travelers.
More than 2.5 million daily passengers are traveling through America's airports.
Come on, 2 lines, 2 escalators. Let's go, let's go.
Louis Armstrong Airport in New Orleans struggling to manage lines out to the parking garage. The mayor urging caution.
ABC Transportation correspondent Gio Benitez. Sales of previously occupied homes bounced back last month as shoppers took advantage of easing mortgage rates and a few more homes on the market. Dow's up 250 points. This is ABC News.
We'll admit, we've already thrown in the towel on the New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and we made it through dry January. But one healthy new habit we're sticking with is Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to help protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Yup, more energy and the peace of mind knowing we can enjoy the good things in life while giving our liver the love it needs.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com. Or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans. And now Active Liver is available at your local GM.
The latest in an early morning crash west of Lincoln. Good morning, I'm Jeff Modes. We're at 51 degrees at KFOR. An investigation is underway into what led to a single vehicle rollover crash near Southwest 84th and West 8th Streets overnight. Lancaster County Sheriff's Sergeant Chad Bryant tells KFOR News that a passerby called 911, reporting that they found a vehicle that appeared to have rolled over. Deputies along with Southwest Rural and Pleasantdale Fire and Rescue all responded and found a 19-year-old Lincoln man trapped inside the vehicle.
Fire and Rescue were able to get him out of the vehicle, and he was eventually life-flighted to Bryan West with critical injuries.
What led to that crash is still under investigation. The area around Southwest 84th and West 8 was shut down for about an hour. A 34-year-old man Monday was found guilty of killing 2 men outside of a Lincoln Gentlemen's Club 2 years ago. Christopher Johnson was found guilty of first-degree murder in the deaths of 39-year-old Carlos Silva and 40-year-old Terrell Jones related to firearms charges. Also, Johnson's charges make him eligible for the death penalty. The court date for his sentencing is yet to be determined. The shooting happened outside the Office Gentlemen's Club on May 25th, 2024. Officers were called to that club just before 2 that morning and found the men with multiple gunshot wounds. They later died at a Lincoln hospital. There will be a new look to the state's driver's licenses and ID cards. Nebraska Department of Motor Vehicles announced Monday the new features will improve security elements and, most notably, a black and white photo format. Nebraska's design of its state driver and ID credentials periodically to incorporate emerging security technologies and to maintain the integrity of the official state-issued cards. The updated design will also include new Nebraska-themed images, including the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge in Omaha, cattle grazing on the prairie, wheat in the Wildcat Hills in western Nebraska, and the honeybee, Nebraska's official state insect. Mostly sunny today and a high of 65, mostly clear early, then increasing clouds tonight with a 40% chance of rain, a low of 36, and then clearing skies for tomorrow with a high of 53. I'm Jeff Modes, KFOR News.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Food truck owners, today business will be booming. People will love your new menu and not make special orders. You will not roll your eyes when someone calls it a quesadilla. You will also switch to Progressive to get 30 customizable coverage options and restore your inner peace. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and coverage selections.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be employees. Real social employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Do not provide them with any form of payment or information.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Whoa! Welcome back to the Morning Hookup. Hour number 2. I know you don't like to talk about it. It is your birthday week. It is. You don't like birthdays. No, is your family? Because that's feast or famine. Because my growing up, mine was not. Again, December 2nd, too close to Christmas for me. It's like everybody growing up. Mom was great, right? Hey, mom, 3 boys. This garden shirt. You know, like my wife's side of the family. Every year's the best year. Kind of celebration.
We're big on birthday celebrations for kids. For the adults, it's like together, maybe go out for dinner, maybe just have dinner at someone's place. Card.
Do you get to choose? That's my wife's side of the family. It's either what do you want us to make or where do you want to go? And typically we don't go unless everybody can go. Like if my birthday, let's say December 2nd, right? That's my birthday. But if people can't make it to the 10th, that's when we're going.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have to be. Oh, I'm going to be in Chicago for my birthday. So,
you are? Oh.
Which I didn't really think about, honestly, whenever I booked that trip out there.
Oh.
Because, again, I'm not big on birthdays.
You might be this year.
To me, birthdays are just like another
Birthdays
day.
are the worst days.
It's another day on the calendar. Cool. It's my birthday. Whatever. Like, you've seen those companies that's like, oh, it's your birthday. Everyone gets a day off. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? It's cool. I happened to come out of my mother's womb on this day.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. I really don't get it. I like the chance to see friends and family, and that's about it. If I can use it as a way to twist my friend's arms to get me to go grab a beer or two with me, or if I can
twist your arm, that's the best part.
Or if I can like go and see my family, cool. But other than that, I don't really care. So we'll see. I guess I could. If I put in a request for something, I'm sure that people would honor it. That's a twist the arm type thing. But
do you like celebrating others though?
I like the chance to see people. That's what it is for me. Like
just see. Okay.
Like got a friend who wants to go grab a couple of beers because it's their birthday. Awesome. I'd love to see you. Got a family member. It's their birthday. Awesome. I'd love to go out and see you. But like it's
just interesting. I think birthdays are one of those things where it's either a yay or a nay.
But we're big on
how you approach it.
We're big on birthdays for the youths in my family.
Oh yeah,
the kids. Hey, that's a special day for the kids.
Look, we used to, as a parent, I used to love to celebrate my kids' birthdays when they were little. Because listen to this, it's probably not. It's not news when you parents throw birthdays for young kids. Guess who it's not for? The kid. You ever been to a kid's birthday when there's like a keg and drinks laid out? It's for the adults. Yeah, kid's going to be in one and make a mess of a cake. Sure. Celebrate. It's for the adults.
And I feel like there's an age cutoff there.
Oh,
where
there is.
It does have to start being for the kids again. Like we're talking like age 5, you know?
Oh, yeah. You got to make it a big deal because then it becomes like they have a voice.
Yeah. No, we have to.
I used to be on the road a lot. I used to be on the road a lot. And then Wise Man once told me, like I worked on the road a lot with our first kid was born. They won't remember who you are till like 5 anyway. Perfect. All right. Keep working. But there's a time and point where they become themed birthdays, which is a lot of work.
Maybe this is why I'm not big on birthdays. My parents had a rule growing up. Birthdays are for family. They were not going to. They were
nowadays. There's friend birthdays. There's family birthdays. Yeah. There's this friend birthday. It's a lot.
We weren't doing friend birthday. We could have like a couple, like those big, those big like 15, 20 person birthday parties that like if people go rent out 6 lanes to the bowling alley.
Yeah,
my parents were never.
Oh man, they were bowling alley were the birthdays back in the day. We're gonna get to NFL free agency and Brian Munson coming up. Back in the day, if you can go back that far, so way back, Burger King birthdays were legit. Oh boy, the crowns and everything. BK birthdays were legit.
How about Pizza Hut?
Oh yeah, the buffet and everything.
Yeah, because the early, like my early childhood were the last good days of Pizza Hut, where you could actually go sit down at a Pizza Hut.
Yeah,
whenever the Pizza Huts were actually shaped like the Pizza Hut logo. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. Man, I miss
those were the days. Were they at the salad bar?
I miss those. Man, I miss. Now I'm getting fired up. Maybe that's what you do one of these days. You somehow figure out how to do a throwback B-Day.
Pizza Hut kind of sucks now, unfortunately. Like I can't go.
Well, I don't care. It's nostalgia. Sometimes you do things just because of nostalgia of it.
Well, where can you even go sit down at a Pizza Hut anymore?
I don't know.
I need to find a sit.
Is there one around?
I don't think so.
They're like Blockbusters these days.
Think about all the old like fast food chains like that. They used to be so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And private equity got involved. And everything.
Money. Speaking of money, how about free agency is not officially kicked off, but as we will call it, the legal tampering times for the top free agents out there. And there's a laundry list of stuff that has been going down out there. I don't know where to start because there's been so much going on. I don't even know. There's a lot.
There's a couple that stand out. We obviously, because we're in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we're 3 hours away from Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Kenneth Walker of the Chiefs.
Yep.
That's a big one. The two things I'll say about that deal, this to me reads as they don't think they're going to get Jeremiah Love at number 9.
No, he's not going to go there.
And I honestly didn't think that was what they needed. So they get themselves a back that, when healthy, has proved himself to be, I would say, above average. This year, with a great offense and with a great offensive line, he was one of the best backs in the NFL. The goal would be that you put him with Patrick Mahomes and a Chiefs offense. And I don't think the Chiefs offensive line is as good as the Seahawks was this past season, but I think the thought is that he kind of keeps that rolling. My take is I think they overpaid just slightly, but you've locked up a guy that I think, when healthy, can be a bell cow running back for you. And that's a win for the Chiefs.
I agree. And it's probably in their area of time and realm. It might be one of the better backs that the Chiefs are going to see in the backfield in some time.
Oh, yeah. And
for them, they've always had that. Again, they've overcome it because of Patrick Mahomes and their receivers and Travis Kelce, who is back on a 1-year, $12 million deal with the Chiefs.
Well, and now you have a Patrick Mahomes injury to worry about. So if you are going without Patrick Mahomes for a month or two to start the season, you have a running back that you can rely upon, hand the ball off, and still keep yourself in games. I'll say I think they overpaid just slightly. I don't think the Chiefs right now, at this point in their championship window, care if they're going to overpay for a piece that can go out and help them. And I think Kenneth Walker is a guy that can step in and be an immediate boost to their offense.
Yep, so. I agree. I think
but I will also say, if you're a Chiefs fan, do not expect a Saquon Barkley. Do not expect a Derrick Henry. That's not what he brings to your offense.
Nope.
He's going to be a reliable running back that you can turn and hand the ball off to 15 to 20 times per game, and you can just expect production as long as he's healthy. So there's that one. The other deal that stands out to me, this one's big, also in the AFC West. Tyler Linderbaum just reset the market for sinners going off to the Raiders.
Oh, my goodness, did he? When you look at that deal comes out 3 years, $81 million. Hello, money man.
So we're talking average annual value of $27 million per year. If you're wondering, the next highest paid center in the NFL, Creed Humphrey, $18 million a year.
Wow.
Behind him, Cam Jurgens, $16 million per year. We are talking a massive gap. That is the Raiders going and resetting and saying, you know what? Interior offensive linemen deserve to get paid too. And I don't necessarily disagree with them because of how defense has evolved in the NFL. You know what's been working recently? Running the damn ball.
Yes.
And if you have a solid interior offensive line with a guy anchoring the middle that can set protections, that is huge for a rookie quarterback. You're gonna go out and overpay. Also, considering you have Ashton Genty, you want to run the football well. Get your offensive line right. That is what the Raiders are attempting to do yesterday with that signing of Linderbaum. That is huge. No one talks about offensive line signings anymore. I think offensive line is starting to get a little bit more respect in recent years, but that is a huge, huge deal. And that is big for the Raiders that they are trying to fortify that offensive line. If you want to bring the best out of Ashton Genty and you want to protect your rookie quarterback in Mendoza, who we all know they're going to take it number 1 overall, you got to get the offensive line right, and that's the first step there.
Speaking of someone else, that we all know the name of getting a massive deal. How about Wan'Dale Robinson going from Giants, headed and taking his talents to Tennessee on a 4-year, $78 million deal? Go get paid, a young man. They get that done. A lot of talks in quarterbacks. Tua yesterday, 1-year deal with the Falcons. I have got nothing. What's going on there in Atlanta with a couple quarterbacks that all the jokes are being made of right now out there. Giants, I think this is a sneaky one for the Giants. We're getting Isaiah Likely. Yeah, their tight end room. I think it's a sneaky good move for them as you looked at what he did at his time in Baltimore when Mark Andrews was down. A good signing there. There's a lot more. I think it's
the two teams that stand out to me yesterday in terms of having the best day are the Panthers and the Titans. Let me take you through the Panthers.
Do it.
Because the two huge signings, they got, I think, the best pass rusher in this free agent class in Jalen Phillips from the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal for them. A 4-year, $120 million contract. Now you have a monster off the edge. And then you get Devin Lloyd from the Jaguars, who is probably the best off-ball linebacker. They fortified. That's two moves right there that can totally change how your defense plays. I mean, two of the best defensive players that were available in this free agent class, both signing with the Panthers. You don't win in January in the free agency period in March, but the Panthers, that's close to it with those two huge additions. I think that's big. And then the Titans, I mean, how many guys did they end up signing? Like 8?
Like 8 guys yesterday.
I
think that's what it was.
Let's see.
Here it is. There it's got, they've got, and then it's a big reunion. They got an edge rusher, Jermaine Johnson, John Franklin Myers, Wandale Robinson, tight end Daniel Bellinger, Flott. They got a lot going on. And then, by the way, I think it might be 3 or 4 of them are from the Giants. Which, again, cohesiveness. Brian Daboll there, Saleh there, a little reunion for those guys as well. Big move yesterday, by the way. And it's probably not – it's big in the sense of the name because he spent could be called Mr. Buccaneer, Mike Evans.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Evans on the move in free agency. Again, he's a big-time leader. I think it's a great move, by the way, where he's headed in the twilight of his career. How about a 3-year deal, $42.4 million, $16 million guaranteed, and he will head out west to the 49ers.
A 3-year deal raised my eyebrows a little bit, but I think if you're the Niners, that's a 3-year deal, and anything beyond year 1 is okay. Awesome.
Yeah, well, with documented injuries and things like that, but he has been last year was the first year in how many years that he did not get to 1,000. Again, injuries barred that from happening as well. But I think it's a move that'll be a good veteran receiver in that room with Brock Purdy at quarterback.
Yep. It's a weapon for Brock Purdy, and I don't think you need him to be the Mike Evans of 5 years ago.
No,
that's not what you need from him. Hey, 1,000-yard season would be great. You just need that reliable receiving threat that assuming he's healthy, which he's been for almost every year of his career aside from last year. He's going to get open like that. He's going to be, I think the goal for the Niners would be per game, he's that 5 receptions, 70-something yards, and a touchdown every game or two. If you can get that from Mike Evans, you're winning.
His name alone will bring coverages to his name as well. What do you make of, I think this one, if you're looking at it across the board, one that sticks out that I think is interesting that I have not quite figured out, the Saints. Travis Etienne to the Saints on a 4-year, $52 million deal.
I mean, it makes Alvin Kamara expendable, first and foremost.
Yes.
But Alvin Kamara, they kind of shut him down at the end of last year. He's aging. How many years of good football does he have left in him? That, I don't know. This is the Saints again going young. They're totally rebuilding from the ground up. But I think with Tyler Shuck, I think they have a quarterback they believe in.
I mean, they have a quarterback. That's what they're telling you a little bit by doing that and not going out to get a quarterback and then getting a running back and trying to build it from there. Assets.
I think the Saints have a bright future. This move with ETN might fly a little under the radar, but it's them going younger everywhere and kind of building for the future. I don't think the Saints are a team that's going to go compete for a playoff spot in 2026. But this is a move that I think can help them out in 2027, 2028. If you stack, they had a good draft last year, stack another good draft this year, you could be one of those teams that's flirting with a wild card spot, and then you can really build for the future after that.
Teams that are continuing to build for the future. I think this is another one that'll go under the radar, and it's a miss because obviously we know out in Arizona, they've released Kyler Murray, and they whiffed. they whiffed on a quarterback. They were going after Malik Willis from Green Bay.
He goes to Miami
on a 3-year, $67.5 million deal. As we know, Tua now has his next deal, 1-year deal in place with the Falcons. A whiff and a miss out in Arizona. So thoughts on that?
They're going to be rolling with Jacoby Brissett again.
Yep.
That's what it sounds like. And Brissett,
steady.
He's kind of he kind of reminds me of Jameis when Jameis was with Tampa Bay. Remember that pre-Tom Brady?
Oh yeah.
Hey, Jameis Winston threw for a lot of yards, but he didn't win a lot of games. You know, that to me is what Jacoby Brissett is. He's going to be a 1-year stopgap. You're going to take the highs, you're going to take the lows. They need to reinvest in their defense first and foremost. I do wonder if this makes Marvin Harrison nearing the end of his rookie contract expendable. You don't like trading guys on a rookie contract because you'd like to get the most out of them, but that doesn't strike me as a guy that is an immediate need for them. So I wonder what that means for him. Is he a guy that you float out there in the trade markets, knowing another team can trade for him and sign him after his rookie contract expires? You would think that'd be something you deal with towards the end of this year, but I wonder if Marvin Harrison could be a potential trade deadline guy.
Yep.
Knowing next offseason would be the offseason where you'd look to extend him. And I doubt that the Cardinals will want to extend him given that they have a lot more issues on their team.
Yep.
So we'll see about that.
Speaking of those two teams you mentioned, just a little money update as well. The Raiders yesterday and the Titans, we mentioned both of them being very active. The Raiders spent on Monday $322 million, and the Titans spent a little over $270 million in one day.
Yep.
If I'm Mendoza going one, I'm going, thank you. They're setting that up really nice. And again, a lot more to go. There's still teams out there with a ton of money to spend. The Raiders still have $82 million. The Commanders, $80 million. The Titans, they still have 50-something million. So they're not done, where I believe that some of the pieces fit.
Another team that has a lot left to spend, and we won't dive too deeply into this because they had a very, very quiet day yesterday. The Denver Broncos have a lot of money to spend.
All they did yesterday was just sneakily get J.K. Dobbins back in their contract.
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins. They also they cut Dre Greenlaw. That was the one piece where Dre Greenlaw had all his guaranteed money in year one. So they're going to save themselves, I think, $6 million, but they're going to have $4 million dead cap hit. So it's like a $2-point-something million money-saving venture adding to the cap yesterday. Interesting. Interesting that the Broncos did not go after any big fish early in free agency, and they still have a lot of money left to spend. What are you going to do with that money?
Yep, and a lot of guys still sitting out there in the coming days. Trey Hendrickson, let's not forget his time in there. Then Kyler Murray is out there. We mentioned him. Guys, Romeo Dobbs, Joey Bosa, Juwan Jennings. There's still some players to be signed coming up as well. It's a frantic time.
Generally speaking, yesterday was a quiet day for most of the playoff teams of last year.
It was
a quiet day. Does that mean that the non-playoff teams are catching up, or does that mean the playoff teams are biding their time and they have a plan in place? We'll see. Usually those playoff teams have less glaring holes in their roster. So what are they going to do? But it was like when your teams that were competitors last year, Bills, Broncos, I guess the Seahawks lost a lot, but that's not shocking with a Super Bowl contender. The Patriots had a pretty quiet day. They did just sign Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive tackle from the Jets. So they bolster their offense line a little bit, but generally a quiet day for them. Quiet day for the Rams. So many teams have made deep runs.
Yeah.
Quiet days.
Speaking of what teams are going to do, we're going to talk to Brian Muntzman, HuskerOnline.com, and figure out what the weekend just looked like, what the closing rate might be for Nebraska football with a slew of big-time guys on campus. Let's talk to Brian when we return.
Yeah.
Bless you. Speaking of pure joy.
I guess the one thing to note with the Rams is that they did make the big splash on McDuffie
a
couple days ago. So
they're going to make
yesterday was quiet. They went and signed. Who is that corner from the Chiefs that they went and signed?
Oh.
It was a decent value deal.
Yeah.
They've kind of reworked their secondary, but generally speaking, pretty quiet.
But they're going to be – it's weird how some of them are just sitting there. But they're adding like little pieces that nobody's even going to worry about.
Little pieces that could loom large in January, though.
There's a lot being made. This whole like, it's so funny that they're making so much out of it. It's happened twice now. Baseball classic where teammates are on opposite ends. You see the one yesterday? Cal Raleigh would not.
or Rosarena.
Yeah.
I need to blow my nose real quick again.
All right, go. Open this question with Brian.
How many weeks do you think allergy season will last this year? I'm already sick of it. It's been like 3 days.
I feel like you people with allergies are going to say until November. The first freeze. How about that? I feel like that's where you guys would go right now because the way everybody's feeling.
Early spring is always the most brutal time for me
because I feel bad for you guys because it's like the mixture of like the stuff getting kicked up with the warm days and you get kicked back down with the colder days and it's just a mixture of a mixed bag.
I'll get Brian on the line here, but yeah, I'm hoping by April I'm feeling better.
Welcome back in the morning, Hookup. Happy Tuesday. Let's bring our guy from HuskerOnline.com, Brian Munson. B, what's up?
What's going on, buddy?
I love hearing the I can kind of hear the conversations when you guys come on, and from one allergist to another allergist, how are you guys feeling?
I feel great right now. Now, so this is okay time with me, but as I'm walking out this morning and I'm getting into my car to go to the office, I noticed this like green powder just all over my car, and I'm noticing that my pear tree is budding, the grass is coming in. So grass pollen is like, the grass pollen just crushes me. It crushes my soul. Like I can get through like the mountain cedar time, which gets my wife. I can get through just about everything else, but grass pollen, I didn't have this allergy before I moved down to Texas. I guess that probably should have been, the warning that I had about staying here, I guess maybe, but no, this is the time of year that if I don't start on the allergy medicine soon enough, I will have a sinus infection probably by late March, early April, and just be miserable.
Yeah, and my weather app, I was telling you off the air, Brian, it's got like the pollen count and like how many particulates are in the air, and Lincoln's in like, so it goes green is at the bottom, red's at the top, and Lincoln's in like an orange. We're at a 7.5 on a scale of 1 to 12, 7.5. Texas is at an 11, and it is just red down there. I woke up this morning, I checked the map, and I went, thank God I'm not in Texas because the 7.5 is already killing me.
Everything's bigger in Texas, brother.
Oh, that's good stuff. We're speaking to Brian Munson with HuskerOnline.com. Brian, I want to ask you this question. I mean, it's again, being a football guy, I've listened. Nebraska's been quiet, but now they're starting to put some videos out, and you hear Jeep Wade talk.
Oh.
Is there again? I know this, right? Like I know you know this. I call it the voices of football coaches. If you close your eyes and listen to Jeep Wade talk, you're like, that dude, I don't know what you guys are doing, but that guy's a football coach, and I kind of want to play for him. Like, how impactful is that voice? especially not just from the actual, X's and O's of what they're doing right now, but when he gets into a room with another big hoss and they start talking.
So I watched his video this morning, and I tell you what, it was inspiring. I love the words that he is using about when he's telling you it's not perfect, but you're getting there and you're moving your feet and it's better than what it was. And I think the way he's treating it is, this is a work in progress. And I know that he's got some guys. I mean, you can hear him, call, hey, Pritch, and Tree, and, you can hear the names that they're calling out. And I love the one-on-one time that Mpuma was getting. It's funny that you kind of mentioned that, because I closed my eyes and I'm kind of listening to him a little bit, and I'm thinking back to it a little bit. There was a great coach out at Kearney when I was there. His name was Terry Renner. He was a defensive coordinator, and pro teams would come in to Kearney all the time to chat with him. And his voice out on the practice field was, it was unmistakable. And some of his one-liners also were incredible, but they are very similar, kind of things to me, where they just have that tone. They don't have necessarily like a tough love kind of approach. It was more of an encouragement. It was keeping the carrot out there on the stick, not telling anybody that they're getting there, but, trying to get them to reach their full potential and work on smaller things to kind of, work their way towards that potential. So I thought that video was tremendous. I really was encouraged by what I was seeing there, in just kind of in my little just curious, my curiosity was there though, if I never heard, anything before that, like with Coach Raiola. I don't know if anything like what I saw in that video was anything similar to like when Coach Raiola was there. I never saw it on a video. I never saw that. I never saw anybody like Nebraska, like trying to hype that up to show people like what things were like practice wise with those guys. So I think that there's massive improvement happening on the field. And I think there's definite improvement happening with Coach Wade, when it comes to recruiting as well.
Brian Munson with us here, HuskerOnline.com. And Brian, what do you make of that remade offensive line room? Because that, to me, seems to be the position group that has been most overhauled. Yeah, you can look at the quarterbacks, but you had TJ Lateef here last year, and Danny Kalen's a guy that's been on the roster before, and Calandria is likely the starter. That's a new face, and you're going to have a little more athleticism in that room. But you look across the offensive line, likely 3 new starters in, a new position coach. That's the group I'm expecting the biggest change from in 2026.
Yeah, 60% changeover right there. You said in your starters, different position coach. The one thing that always kind of struck me a little bit when offensive linemen were visiting and getting a little bit of time to like break things down with Coach Raiola was, the first words out of their mouth typically was when they were talking about technique was how different Coach Raiola taught technique. And it was different than anything else he'd ever seen before. So, and I don't know if necessarily if that was, a good thing because of the guru that he was tied to and the type of coaching that he was doing. But I haven't heard that yet from anybody else I've talked to this year, number one. And I think that when you don't have like this obvious difference in how people are kind of brought up in general, playing a position, and then you get to college and all of a sudden it's a 180 from everything else that you've been taught before on what you're supposed to be doing. I think it makes for a much more smoother transition, and that you could, we've not heard several guys' names, that we kind of hoped that we would by now. Tom Mua, Bricks. Those are a couple right there that, there was a lot of potential with those guys. And you're hoping now that some of that wasn't this, like things are just going to be taught differently from Coach Raiola to what you've learned before. Now maybe you're back on, more of a, like everything is more applicable as opposed to what it seemed to be before. Because what it seemed to be before was you've learned one way up to this point and now you're going to learn a different way. And I think that those are just not great things to do. It seems very segmented. It doesn't seem, very end to end, like in the process of just kind of the overall development. It seems like, you got to go back and relearn how to do things that you thought you knew how to do when it comes to your current offensive line coach. So I'm really more excited about that, to where it seems like everything before is applicable, and it may not stand in the way of players and recruits development when it comes to getting them on the football field.
Well, Brian, coming off a big weekend with a lot of gentlemen in town to see the university. My question would be, because again, how Husker fans are, when are they committing? When are they going to be here? Why did we lose? Why did we win? I mean, that's the world that we live in. But when you look at a weekend like that, and obviously without getting into the specific gentlemen themselves and kids, what is deemed success for Nebraska? And in my mind, it's the success is not the commit, but is how many second attempts or second visits do we get, or official visits?
Exactly. And I tell you what, you're nailing it right now, because I think the big deal for these guys is that if you're bringing guys in for the first time, you want to get that second one. And if you guys are bringing in like a guy for a fourth time, like they were like with 5-star Albert Simeon, are you getting that official visit then again in June? So there were a number of return visitors. There were a number of guys that were there in Lincoln for the first time. And I think the critical part to guys getting to Lincoln the first time is that you need somebody there in an official capacity. And what I mean by that is having a guy like Trey Taylor in Lincoln, when you got guys that are there for the first time, particularly guys, of course, that Trey's kind of connecting Nebraska to, and he's got to be there in town to kind of help out. And I mean, he's big on those weekends. He's that unofficial recruiting coordinator. Hey, ask me any questions you got. Did you see this thing over here? Kind of thing. And I know that he was online last night, talking about Kennedy Brown coming in on Thursday, and how, this is the downside of him not living in Lincoln, not being able to get over to campus to help host Kennedy. But I think Nebraska will be fine. This is Kennedy's not his first visit in Lincoln either. And probably chances are Nebraska is going to get him back for an official visit. So he'll get a chance to see him later this fall. But the key now are, the guys that are planning the March commitment dates, like Caden Howard, who's the wide receiver from Miami Palmetto, same high school as Ja'Cory Barney, kind of a similar-ish looking dude, 20-yard, per catch average, 4.41, just ran a 10.6 100, slippery but has great speed, kind of that slot player. So you got a Caden Howard that's on an earlier schedule, and then you have the guys that are going to be going through the month of June. And you got these guys now that are trying to figure out what's real. Who are the real teams on their list before they start setting any type of official visits. You got to have those guys out there too, where it's they're trying to figure out, who are the teams that really they need to get back and take another look at. So that I think is really important, where Nebraska has to show, really strongly, where they're at, and give them an incentive to come back. That's what Marquise Evans told me, last night. He's really trying to determine who those schools are that will get those official visits. So you got the early commitment guys. You got the guys that you're bringing back, in the spring, because you're going to get another official visit from them in June. And then you got the guys that are trying to set that official visit schedule. And so you got to kind of know where all those guys are at right now. And I think that's a very important piece to understanding where their process is at. I don't think it necessarily means you have to recruit them any differently, but I think it definitely helps to understand where everybody is at with their process.
Brian Munson with us here. And Brian, as you look at Nebraska's recruiting right now, are there any specific positions of interest that it seems like Nebraska has locked in on, the types of positions that they'd like to get a guy in the boat sooner rather than later?
Well, I mean, I think things are going to work out, generally speaking, for wide receiver. I think Caden Howard, is a player that's going to jump in the class here the next couple of weeks, and I think that's going to be a good get. I think he's a little overlooked. He's just a 3-star recruit. But I think Nebraska's in on so many other wide receivers. Like Khalil Taylor had a very favorable visit report that he gave Steve Wilfong this morning or last night. Quentin Burrell, who's, a Claude Mpuma former high school teammate with, I think that Nebraska did pretty well with him over the weekend. So I think that you're getting into some crunch time spots, particularly on the offensive side of the football, like with what you're planning on doing. I think Nebraska is in a really, 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 really good spot, like with offensive line. I love where they're at with those guys. I think a lot of it, again, goes back to Coach Wade and what he's kind of doing over there. And he's got a lot of guys coming. He's got guys coming in today. He's got guys coming in continually through the month of March, which is huge, both interior and offensive tackles. I'm really excited about what Nebraska is doing at linebacker. And I just put it up in our chat. Nebraska's already had guys like Prince Goldsby and Kobe Rhymes already take visits to Nebraska. Those are the kinds of players, the very disruptive, athletic guys. Like when you start talking about, like the Levante Davids, and how long it's been since you had a player like that in Lincoln. I think those guys are very interesting to me because, they have that ability to pin their ears back, but they also have that ability to run the hill line on a run away from them and chase down the running back from the backside. I think they just have, tremendous, athleticism. And those guys are definitely those types of players. And I think Dvorak and Nebraska could really use that. But I think Nebraska's in a great spot with their secondary. I think they're in a great spot with their linebackers. I think they're in a great spot with their edge guys. Although we had to take a guy off the list earlier this morning, which was fine. I think they'll get a chance to get him back later in town. And offensive line is great. I wish things were a little bit better at tight end. I think that's a concern right now, particularly like with Ahmad Hudson and Cooper Terwilliger kind of being your top two guys. I think Nebraska has to be trying to find another person or two to get, into more of a serious situation relationship with to hopefully get them on campus for an official visit.
Well, Brian, let's speak about quarterbacks just a little bit. Again, there's been a lot of talk about Calandria and the skill set that he's providing, the confidence. You've got Eric Crouch, Heisman Trophy winner at Nebraska, now coming out talking about him, the confidence, the leadership. The question being is, you look ahead, Trey Taylor coming to town next year, the room you have now. What does a type of kid or skill set like that, and you pair it with Dana and his offense, do as far as future recruiting for Nebraska quarterbacks? Because maybe that's a guy we have not seen as of recent history with a skill set and a veteran leadership like we do in Calandria right now.
No, I agree with you completely. And I think that is a new skill that when you add it to, like what Dana wants to do and what's been kind of missing from Nebraska's offense, I think it could really open some things up. I think obviously it takes some pressure off of the offensive line from being perfect. Like if things do break down, you have a capability for a guy behind you to make some plays, which Nebraska didn't have. Raiola didn't have the quickest feet. He did at times, particularly against Ohio State as a freshman, was able to kind of break a long one here or there. But, you want to have a more consistent kind of playmaker there, and they don't have to break off 100 yards, running a game. They just have to be effective whenever they do decide to rush it. Whether it's, third down conversions or, just kind of play breaks down and, or they got a bad matchup and they know about it and they're going to go get 5 yards and then it's next down. I mean, I think Calandria, I think the part that always gets me about those mobile guys, and I think you'll be able to tell very quickly from watching Calandria is, is this really just an athlete that just wants the football because he can go make things happen, or is this really a quarterback who's watching and knows what's going to happen and he's reacting to it? Because those are two different things. You got a guy that's just instinctual when it comes to just running the football, or you have a guy that's capable of running the football who is instinctual to what's happening in front of him and knows when he should go ahead and run the football, as opposed to just every time. So I think that kind of goes back to Tim Beck was one of those guys that recruited a lot of athletes, that would just run the football over and over and over again, but would have difficulty when it comes to being accurate throwers. I think Calandria fits a different category where he's, really a thrower first, runner second, but I think he's a quick processor. And I think that's going to be the difference for Nebraska next year.
It's Brian Munson with us here, HuskerOnline.com. And Brian, before we get you out, I want to switch gears here, talk some NFL. We had the early tampering, the legal tampering period kicking off yesterday, and for the most part, it was a quiet day for the Bills. I want to get your reaction. I know they re-signed Dawson Knox, they re-signed McGovern, so they kind of locked down some key pieces, but other than that, it was quiet. I want to get your reaction.
Yeah, they locked down Bass too for a 1 year, like $1 million deal, and I mean that guy's been hurt on and off the last 2 years, and I just kind of know that it's going to happen like sometime mid-season. There's going to be a kicking, controversy, or at least a need to go out there and find another guy. I'm a little bit surprised about Dawson Knox. I'm just going to be honest with you. Not the same guy that we saw 2 years ago, that I saw 2 years ago. I'm sure you guys aren't like examining the Buffalo Bills as much as I do. I know Ed Oliver restructured his contract. They're still, I think, over the cap by like $13 million. So there's still some things that they have to do to kind of get ready for the draft obviously, but, I think the way that things kind of set up, I liked what they did with Moore, bringing him in as a free agent ad. I think I would have appreciated, maybe Mike Evans a little bit more. I think Evans at San Francisco was just amazing. I didn't know if that meant that Ayuk was on his way out. I know Ayuk's a little bit of a gamble with what he does, like in the locker rooms. You don't want to lose the locker room, and he does seem to have that capability, but he is a very talented receiver. So I didn't like Max Crosby coming over to Baltimore. That one's going to be tough, and I didn't see tremendous years from Buffalo's offensive line, particularly, the left tackle. I like him. He just didn't seem to quite have it this year. A lot of procedure calls, a lot of holding calls. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, hopefully going to get a little bit busier here, but I'm very interested to kind of see what the draft rumors start to become, because it seems to be kind of moving between, going wide receiver, or maybe, kind of figuring out who the next Milano is going to be, somebody to kind of line up against, behind, next to him, and kind of maybe get ready to turn it over to him a little bit. So, going to be interested to see that too. So yeah, not a lot going on yet. We'll see what happens down the stretch.
Awesome. Brian, as always, my friend, man, thanks for taking the time with us on a Tuesday. Take care of yourself. Have a great week.
Be good, guys. We'll see you.
Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Great stuff from him as always. Let's take our final break. Come back with stories that we missed. You have some good stuff. I just saw that all the Big Ten teams and awards, 11 o'clock, Big Ten Network. Of course, they have to have a production, right?
I do find it interesting. I'm not sure if he's got inside knowledge. John Rothstein was having Dusty May on his show this morning.
Oh.
Interesting. The timing of that right before Big Ten Awards.
Yeah, yuck. Oh, look at that. Flood XJ, what's up, brother? You made it to Mexico. Said you can almost smell the tequila. Oh, happy birthday. It's happy birthday. Flood Extended Day. Mexico.
Happy birthday.
He said, should be poolside ready for Wednesday's show.
Anyone born in March? That's it's good.
It's my daughter's birthday month.
It's Justin Bieber's birthday month. Didn't know that?
No.
Come on, everyone knows Justin Bieber's birthday.
No, because mine used to be where she's kind of crazy now, but whatever. She shares a birthday with me. Britney Spears.
Oh, it's Britney, brother.
So, who just found herself in some cuffs last few days.
What celebrity hasn't, though?
Love they chat on the chat. Thanks, Arlo. I mean, besides a Raiders guy, you seem like a solid dude. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate you guys. Always best radio in Mexico, no doubt.
Low bar.
There'll be no referee cheating in college basketball this coming up. That's a preview of a story. I'm going to try to read that, and I'm going to get it all wrong, but it'll be fun to try. I love these watches. It said, time to stand up.
We are coming back here.
All right. Did it? Welcome back in the morning hookup. Special thanks to Brian Munson, hustleronline.com. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We got Flight 10 all the way. So happy birthday. For your 4-day. As Elijah's is coming up on Friday, we'll make sure to spread some birthday cheer for you on Friday. Because also, it sounds like you might join us from the road.
We'll be driving to Chicago as soon as I get east of Omaha. Along in Lonesome Highway, east of Omaha.
We'll interrupt
entertainment.
We'll interrupt your history podcast.
The two things I got on deck, loaded up for the trip. Carlin hardcore history and my Game of Thrones audio.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. A little nerd fest on the way out to Chicago.
Oh, let's do it. Stories that we missed.
The stories we missed. The morning hookup.
Boy, the NCAA is really cracking down on these officials that apparently like to bet. They're going to start, they announced Tuesday, they're going to monitor officials in this year's basketball, baseball, and softball championships with this technology called ProBet, something like that. It's a technology by Integrity Compliance 360. The cross-checks will identify data with Sportsbook to flag impermissible bettors. They're going to keep eyes on that. More than 220 officials, including alternate officials, that will have eyes on you.
Big Brother's always watching.
Always watching.
This is good, though.
Yes,
don't want the officials with any skin in the game.
Yep. No more Donahue's.
Remain neutral. This one is going to fly under the radar because nobody cares about this sport right now. But in NBA action,
what? Who?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander may have locked down the MVP last night.
Oh boy!
Did you see that shot that he hit? So the Nuggets, it was an improbable comeback. They found themselves down by 8 with like 90 seconds left. Come all the way back. They tie it up on a 4-point play. Jokic hits a 3 off-ball foul. They get they tie it up with 7 seconds left, and then here comes the Thunder on the other side. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander step back,
cash. Did you also? Was it also last night? Was it last night, or he tied Wilt Chamberlain for the most consecutive?
Was it
20 or 20-point games or 25-point games?
That was last night.
Night? Okay.
Yeah. But he finished with, I think, 34 points.
Mm.
And likely, considering that was a battle of the two high MVP guys, I mean, Jokic and Shai both had a great game, but that game-winning step-back shot is going to probably lock things down.
I think I saw it was like minus 800 when it opened up this morning for Shai to win that again. 11 o'clock today, Big Ten. The awards will be announced for Big Ten teams. Also, the awards. So pay attention to that. Be a conversation piece tomorrow.
Let's set the number. And how many Huskers will end up on an all Big Ten team or have an all Big Ten individual award? I'll set the number at 3.5.
I was going
under.
Under.
You went under.
No, you said both combined team and awards?
Team and individual awards.
I'll go over.
How many total Huskers?
I'll go over.
Because you have Price in contention for all Big Ten.
I think
you
honestly,
potentially have Sam in contention for all Big Ten plus all defensive team. Frager all freshman team and 6th man of the year, both candidates.
That's 3.
And you have Hoiberg for coach of the year potentially.
Yep. What is rank in there? Rank's going to be the one that puts you over the bubble, over the number at 4.
I don't think he ends up
at 4.
All Big Ten team.
I think I'm going to take the over because
because if you get Frager either a 6th man or all freshman team, if you get Hoiberg defensive or all Big Ten, and then Sanford all Big Ten plus a Hoiberg coach, that gets you a 4. So
wait a minute, per release. There's an out there. Here you go. It's right here.
It's dropped early. Okay.
Robin watched it.
50 seconds left.
Chris, per release on UCLA's website. It's coming from UCLA's website. Price, Sanford, first team all Big Ten media, Rink and Mast and Hoiberg, honorable mention. Frager, all freshman team. Sam Hoiberg, all defensive team. Fred Hoiberg, coach of the year.
That's 4.
Boom. That's a retweet by Robin Washington coming from a Big Ten release on the UCLA's website.
They may have jumped the gun.
Might have jumped the gun, but we don't know. We love it. Hey, tomorrow, more Husker. Henry T. Buchanan. We'll talk bracketology. Tomorrow, all the conference tournaments are starting. And Boys State basketball. That and a whole lot more tomorrow in the morning hookup. Have a great Tuesday. Catch you on a hump day.